Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Today I have for you a chocolate bar slider. This is a quick and easy treat that you could use for stocking stuffers, gifts for coworkers, if you need to leave a little something on their desk around the holidays, but it's great for any time of the year for any kind of occasion. It's super simple, does not require a lot of supplies to create. And it's fun because when you pull the little ribbon at the top, a chocolate bar emerges from the packaging. So I'm going to show you how to make this. The first thing you will need is a 6-inch square of cardstock. This is Real Red that I am using. And we just need to score it a few times in order to create the sleeve for our candy bar. So, using either your scoreboard and scoring tool or the scoring blade on your paper trimmer, you're going to slide your piece of paper in and score it at 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 5 1/4, and 5 1/2. And that's all you need to do to create the sleeve for your chocolate bar. So next up, you're just going to fold on your score lines. You can use a bone folder if you want to get crisper edges, but if you don't have a bone folder, your fingers will do nicely as well. And I like to do two things before I start decorating my candy bar holder. First of all, I'm going to do a little bit of decorating, and I'm going to put this piece of designer series paper on the sleeve before I glue the box together. It's just a little easier than trying to do it once I've created the box. So I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal Plus, and this piece of paper is 5 1/2 inches tall by 2 1/4. So a little bit of adhesive, and I'm going to put the paper down towards the bottom just because I'm going to be punching my hole in the top, and depending on what punch I'm using, it might not go all the way through. I should be fine, but this just helps with ease of design. Next, I'm going to punch the hole in the top that the ribbon is going to slide through, and we need a hole on both sides. So for this candy bar holder, I'm going to use my detailed trio punch because I never use this part of the punch enough. It's a little oval that's perfect for a ribbon slot. So I'm going to center my larger panels here on the punch in order to create those ribbon pulls. And I am just eyeballing it. If you want to get technical, you could put a little pencil mark, but I'm being brave and bold, which I am not, and punching the hole in it. If you were to assemble it and then try, you just don't have enough clearance to put it all in there at the same time. But if you have a different style punch, you could absolutely assemble the box and then punch your hole in it at the same time. It's not too thick that you can't do that. Now, another little tip I have is I personally like to tape the edges of my candy bar wrapper before I put the candy bar in. Now, this is a standard size Hershey chocolate bar. It's the 1.55 ounce. I call it the s'mores bar. But they have these little edges that kind of fold. So what I like to do, and this is just a personal thing from me using these over the years in craft fairs, is take a little Scotch tape and just help these flaps stay down. That way, if you're taking that chocolate bar in and out, just to see if the slider works, or if your recipient's leaving it in the packaging for a little bit, you don't have to worry about ripping the candy bar open or things like that. It doesn't catch. So, just a little tip for you. You can skip that step if you don't want to do it. I also find it a little bit easier to assemble the box with the chocolate bar inside to start, just to kind of help you get it makes the box a little sturdier. So I'm going to flip it over so I've got my designer series paper on the top, and I have this narrow flap here. I'm going to take some tear and tape. Now I could use liquid glue, but I am more of a tear and tape girl, and I'm also, I think I realized I'm too impatient to wait for glue to dry, even though it dries quick. So you could use our liquid Tombow glue if you like, but I like to use tear and tape for projects like this. So I can peel my tape off, and then I'm just going to put my candy bar in here. It's not going to be permanently attached or anything like that. It's just giving me kind of a base to help center my, or help sturdy up my box a little bit. And so what I like to do is just fold in the flap, and I promise it's easier than I'm making it look. Match up the bottom corner, and then I can just match up that top corner, and just like that I have the sleeve created for my box, or for my candy bar. So next up, before I finish decorating, I am going to put the candy bar inside. To do that, I need some ribbon. Now, if you want to cut it off the spool, you're going to need about 20 inches worth of ribbon, but I'm going to leave mine on the spool and then work with it from there. This is our faux linen real red ribbon, and you're going to thread it through both holes at the top. Doesn't matter if you do front to back or back to front, but just thread it through both, and you can see how the ribbon stretches across. Hold the short end of the ribbon in one hand so it doesn't go anywhere, and gently push your candy bar inside, and it's going to take your ribbon in with it. Now, you can just tie a bow at this point if you want. I'm going to dress it up a little to show you another option. I'm going to go ahead and trim the edges on my ribbon. You could tie it in a knot at this point, or you can take some other ribbon or baker's twine, and I'm going to tie a bow around the ribbon pull, just for a different look. So this is some of our wrinkled seam binding ribbon, and I do usually have to just kind of adjust my pulls a little bit so they lay flat and look pretty. But as I said, you could just tie a bow if you wanted to. And then once you have it looking the way you want, you can trim any excess ribbon. Now, you can decorate your candy bar slider any way you want. So what I decided to do was I took one of the dies from the Stitch So Sweetly set. I made sure it was going to be a good fit for the front of my chocolate bar slider. I settled on this size, and then I created a mat for it with another piece of cardstock. So I'm just pulling all the colors out of my designer series paper, so I've got garden green and the white to match the real red. Very little stamping on this project. I am going to use garden green ink to match my cardstock, and a stamp from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set that says North Pole Delivery. I have a piece of scrap paper here because I'm going to stamp off the scalloped rectangle just a little bit. And this is a photo polymer stamp. It's the clear that you can see through. So I have my Stamp and Pierce mat underneath just to give me a little extra cushion. And just like that, my tag is ready to go. So I'm going to layer my scalloped rectangle on my cardstock rectangle using my Stampin' Seal Plus. Again, use your adhesive of choice. Now I'm going to attach this piece to the front with dimensionals. You could layer your decorations flat, or you can pop them with dimensionals. Whoop. Up to you. And you can be as simple or as complex with your designs as you want to be with your decorations for the front. And you can center them in the middle, top to bottom, however you want to design your chocolate bar slider. Now, obviously, coming along, but needs a little something here, right? So I stamped and colored this little Jolly Santa Claus from the Be Jolly stamp set, and then I fussy cut him out. And now I'm going to add him to the front of the candy bar with dimensionals as well. I'm going to use some smaller ones for this guy. And so once I've got enough dimensional coverage here to make sure Santa Claus doesn't sag in the middle, can't have a sagging Santa Claus, I'm just going to peel off my dimensional backings. Oop, got one trying to stick on there. Think I got them all. And then Santa's going to do his little happy dance on the front of my candy bar. So just like that, I have a very nice, simple gift that would be great for any occasion, and it's a fun little treat, a way to dress up a plain candy bar. Now, I have some other samples to show you, and these are all done in the vertical orientation, but we'll talk a little bit in a minute about another possibility for you. So here's another Christmas slider. This features our Playful Penguin from the Penguin Place stamp set. He can be a regular penguin, or you can dress him up and make him Rudolph with some antlers and a red nose. And this one I just tied a little bit of a bow at the top. So it functions the same, it just has a simple bow instead of the dressed up bow that I used first. And I did mention these are good for any occasion, so I did do 2 Valentine's Day projects. Valentine's Day will sadly be here before we know it. But very simple. You can see how you can change them up with different colored paper, different colored designer series paper. So lots of options here. And these, as I said, were all done in the vertical orientation. However, you're not tied to that, and you don't just have to put a candy bar in here. I made a candy bar slider in the horizontal orientation. So I just made sure that my designer series paper was lined up the right way. Pardon me. And I used dies that fit lengthwise. I have my candy bar in here, but on top of the candy bar, I have folded some cash. So it doesn't just have to be a candy bar holder. If you like to give cash for the holidays or for birthdays, you can very easily fold it down to fit on top of your Hershey bar. Or you could even take a gift card and attach it to the candy bar with a glue dot, and that way when you were to pull the candy bar out, your gift recipient would see the gift card. So lots of options you have for these chocolate bar sliders. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn this technique. I would love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you can click the notifications bell and be notified anytime that I post a video here on the page, which is typically about twice a week. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.